just because someone's a first-round pick doesn't mean they're always gonna be, well, good.
Which was the biggest draft mistake? Was it Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley?
Has to be Jones.
Sometimes they end up with a dud of a pick that either flames out immediately or hangs on for a few years but never really lives up to expectations. So let's take a look at 10 former first-round picks that it's time to pull the plug and give up on. First up, we have CJ Henderson, the Jacksonville Jaguars' former 9th overall pick in the 2020 draft out of the University of Florida. The Gators standout was a 3-time All-SEC selection in college, but ever since the cornerback has gotten to the NFL, it's been a bit of an uphill battle for Henderson. During his first season down in Jacksonville, he played just 8 games. Then he was shipped out to Carolina just 2 weeks into the following season. From that point on, it was clear to everyone that Henderson's value had already started to depreciate massively. After all, Carolina only had to give up journeyman tight end Dan Darnold and a 3rd-round pick for Henderson and a 5th. Not exactly the haul you'd expect for a guy that you invested a top 10 draft pick in 1 season ago. But I guess when you are hardly ever available to play, and when you are on the field you give up plays like this, your stock is gonna drop pretty fast. There is some optimism in Carolina that they can help the young defensive back turn it around, but I don't know that I see it, and I would hate to see the Panthers faithful get their hopes up only to be disappointed. Sticking to the defensive side of the ball, how about the Las Vegas Raiders' 4th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, Clelin Ferrell, the defensive end out of Clemson. Ferrell had an extremely decorated college career, winning multiple national championships and getting named to 2 consecutive first-team All-American teams, which, when paired with his insane physical skill set, made Ferrell a surefire first-rounder. But taking him so early in the draft was a decision that many analysts criticized, because they felt that Ferrell's success was in part a product of a deep and talented Clemson defense, and thus he was really more of a late first-round talent. And you know what, though the jury is still out, it seems like the Raiders may soon rue the decision to take Ferrell, especially so early in the draft. I mean, they already declined their 5th-year option on his contract, so realistically the team has signaled that they have all but given up on the young D-end. And you know what? Raiders fans might just be wise to this fact as well. Because let's face it, 8 sacks in 3 seasons from a 4th overall pick is not a good sign for his career prospects. He may never develop into a full-time starter, let alone the big-time star that one might have expected him to be after being taken with a pick that high. Moving back towards the East Coast, the New York Giants actually have 2 players, both of which were high draft picks, who it is time to give up on. Quarterback Daniel Jones and running back Saquon Barkley. Both players have shown flashes of brilliance, perhaps Barkley more so than Jones, but the reality is that neither seem destined to live up to the hype that they had coming out of the college ranks. Jones has neither posted a winning record nor played a full season through his first 3 years in the league. And to make matters worse, he's regressed significantly since his rookie year when he threw for 3,027 yards and 24 touchdowns to just 12 interceptions. Worst of all, Jones appears to have an insatiable desire to give the ball to the other team as much as he possibly can. The man has averaged just under 10 picks per season and surrendered an astronomical 36 fumbles, 20 of which were recovered by the opposition. I think it's safe to say that he may not be cut out to be the face of a franchise, in New York or otherwise. As far as Barkley is concerned, his production has been way down since his electrifying first couple of seasons in the NFL. And considering the ongoing war that he continues to wage with the injury bug, there is a serious cause for concern. Which is exactly why so few teams are willing to invest high draft picks and big money into running backs anymore these days. Hopefully, Saquon can turn it around. After all, when he's at his best, he's one of the most exciting players in the league. But I wouldn't hold my breath. This is not too dissimilar to what we've seen play out with another explosive former first-round pick, John Ross III, who wasn't drafted by the Giants, but he did play for them in 2021. Ross was taken 9th overall in the 2017 NFL Draft by the Cincinnati Bengals after an epic 17-touchdown season during his final year on campus at the University of Washington. More so than his stats, which were impressive in and of itself, Ross was highly sought after for his explosive speed and playmaking abilities. I mean, guys with 4.22 speed and your 40-inch vertical jumps don't exactly grow on trees. The wide receiver's time in the NFL has left much to be desired, though. He's played double-digit games just once, and he's never posted a season with more than 506 receiving yards. And though it seems to be unavoidable that he posts one massive stat line, or makes a highlight reel play at least once in the beginning of the season, just to get everyone's hopes up, I think it's safe to say that Ross will never truly live up to his potential. I don't know what it is about the NFC East, but the teams in that division love to roll the dice on former first-rounders who, frankly, it is time to give up on. Just ask any Washington Commanders fan. They are currently trying to talk themselves into being excited about having Carson Wentz under center this upcoming season. The former North Dakota State signal caller who ascended to the top of the draft boards ahead of the 2016 NFL Draft and was ultimately taken second overall by the Eagles has had a wildly up-and-down NFL career thus far. And his best season came in 2017 when he led the Eagles to an 11-2 record and had himself in the pole position for MVP honors before he went down with a season-ending ACL injury. And ever since that fateful injury, it has all been downhill for Wentz. His team went on to win the Super Bowl without him, and his play has become increasingly erratic. So much so that his relationship with the team soured, and he was eventually shipped out to Indianapolis, where he played one season before, you guessed it, inconsistent play kept the team from reaching its true potential. For all of his struggles, Wentz still has a career record over 500, which is admittedly inflated by his aforementioned 2017 campaign. But that's still more than you can say for a lot of QBs. Perhaps this is why Washington decided to take a chance on Wentz despite every indication saying that it is time to give up on him. I suppose it's not that uncommon to see teams continually take chances on quarterbacks that were taken in the first round that may now be past their expiration date. I mean, just ask the Dolphins, who are unwilling to give up on their former 5th overall pick, Tua Tagovailoa. The left-handed quarterback was a stud in Tuscaloosa during his college days, putting up monster numbers for a dominant Alabama team. I don't know if it's the increased speed in the NFL game or maybe the more complex schemes, but it just seems like all the explosiveness has been taken out of his game. When you watch Tua play on Sundays, it is damn near impossible to believe that he was at one point one of the most explosive players in the entire college game to watch. Exciting scrambles and downfield bombs have since turned into indecision and checkdowns. And it may be well time to give up on Tua, no matter how painful of a thought that might be to the Finns. This upcoming season will be do or die for Tua. Year 3 is usually a breaking point for young quarterbacks, and Miami has now done all it can to push its chips to the middle of the table with Tua. They've provided him with a new elite receiving target in Tyreek Hill, who has been a top 5 wideout in the league since he broke in. Long story short, the clock is ticking on the Hawaiian signal caller, and if he doesn't figure something out quick with an otherwise talented Dolphins team down in South Beach, then he'll soon find himself looking for work elsewhere. At least the Dolphins only have one quarterback on their roster that is time to give up on, because in a desperate attempt at casting a wide net and really, in my opinion, just closing their eyes and hoping for the best, the Carolina Panthers have collected 2 young, lost quarterbacks that it is time to give up on: Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Darnold was selected with the 3rd overall pick in the 2018 draft by the New York Jets, and though folks in the media were once optimistic about his prospects with a change of scenery, the clock really seems to now be ticking on Darnold, considering how drastically his performance fell off after an exciting 3-0 start last season. And more so that he has since lost the training camp competition for the starting job to the aforementioned Mayfield. Mayfield, the former 1st overall selection by the Cleveland Browns, on the other hand, has his chance at redemption after an embarrassing departure from Cleveland. But will he be successful, or will he end up as yet another quarterback on a growing list that should have been cast out of the league, or at least out of a starting job long before they actually were? Only time will tell. Last and, I suppose least, we have another wide receiver to add. Current Jet Corey Davis. It feels like every season since 2017, when he was taken by the Tennessee Titans 5th overall out of Western Michigan, he's been a name on the top of everyone's list to be next up as one of the top receivers in the league. It's like clockwork. Davis has a couple of big games a season where he puts his athletic 6'3" frame to work, making a number of physically dominant catches, and he skyrockets to the top of everyone's fantasy sleepers lists. It isn't just fantasy either. The NFL media has continued to tout him as being poised to break out ahead of every single season, and, well, it just never seems to happen for Davis.
I tried, and it didn't happen. Then I got older, and I got more and more nervous because it hadn't happened yet, and I got weirded out about it, and then it really didn't happen.
His best season came in 2020 when a hot streak helped him to put together a 984-yard, 5-touchdown season. And though that was just 2 years ago, it may as well be 20 years now that he seems destined for mediocrity, as it looks likely that he'll be the number 3 wideout on the lowly Jets this upcoming season. Really, just a tough lick for a player with all of the physical tools needed to perform at the NFL level. But which former NFL top 10 pick do you think it's time to give up on? Is there anyone that we missed? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.